Hi everyone, welcome back to Savvy Self-Publishing, where your story matters. So I mentioned last time that I would probably be interviewing my husband Curtis.
Hello.
And that's what I'm going to do today. As a little bit of a background, which I believe I already talked about before, Readers Magnet / Authors Lounge, they contacted me in 2022 offering to interview me in written form for their website as a type of promotion for my book, and I was a new author that time with only 2 books. I was very excited. I took them up on it, but when I signed up, I needed to enter my phone number, and that should have been a red flag, and I shouldn't have bothered. But I did, and anyway, ever since, they've been calling me every few months to invite me to a book fair in the U.S., which I will never attend, for $2.99 U.S., which is a lot more in Canada. So anyway, I'm finally off their call list. My interview is finally off their website, and I do have my husband to thank partly for that anyway. So I wanted to interview him today to ask him a few questions about the call he made to Reader's Magnet. So what made you decide to do that?
Well, I came out, I was not aware of what was going on at the time, and I came out into the living room, and you had just gotten off the phone with them, and you were quite frustrated with them. Mm-hmm. My understanding is you had already asked to be removed from their call list, and they had failed to follow your instructions, and this was a repeat. So I really didn't know much about the situation at the time. Mm-hmm. What I did know is that it was a repeat thing, that they kept on bugging you, and that they didn't follow your wishes.
No, because as soon as the guy called this last time, I said, please take me off your list. And for some reason, the conversation went on for 13 minutes.
Yeah, he kept on dragging it on for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And he wasn't telling you, so all I knew was that he didn't tell you why he was calling.
No.
And you already told him you're not spending any money.
No.
Okay,
no.
But he kept on wasting your time. What I did know is that he was asking you personal questions.
He was.
And I did not like that.
No.
I was quite unhappy.
I mean, in a way, it was related to my book, which is my second book, Stop Settling When It Comes to Love. It's sort of related to that, like my first marriage, my second marriage. But he was asking questions he didn't need to. He even asked my age. I said I'm old enough.
Yeah, I don't like that. And so when I found out that this was getting to be too much, I mean, Jenny's pretty smart. She didn't fall for their little ploy or anything like that. But sometimes I feel like it'd be nice for her to have a little help, because she was done dealing with them. She was totally done with them. So I said, I'll call them. And so that's what made me want to call them, is because you were annoyed, and I was ready to step in for you.
Thank you. Did you have any hesitations about doing that?
Nope.
No, I didn't think so.
I had no hesitation whatsoever, because I knew it was time to deal with it.
Yeah. So did you do anything special to prepare?
No.
No.
All I did was listen to your complaint, and then I went after them.
Yeah. And during that conversation, well, actually, before that I asked this question, how did that conversation go with Reader's Mag?
How did my conversation with them go?
Yeah.
It was mostly me demanding answers and them failing to give any.
Right.
Because they were totally off script. They had no script for angry husbands.
And you didn't, unfortunately, you didn't talk to the person that I talked to. You talked to a different guy.
I talked to another fellow,
Yeah.
And so I told the fellow that, look, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your colleague and at your company.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know why you called my wife.
Yeah.
And I made sure they knew who it was.
Yeah.
And yes, this fellow that I was talking to knew who I was talking about. He knew it.
Yeah.
Because you were on his records.
Right.
You were on their records. So I said, why'd you call? Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but that was the best they could give me. They had no idea. Either that or they didn't want to reveal why they're calling.
Yeah, which is very sketchy.
Yeah, extremely sketchy. I was not impressed.
That's a good sign of a scam right there, when they're not transparent. Do you feel like you had the upper hand during that whole conversation?
Totally.
Yeah.
I totally had the upper hand, because their scripts depend on them calling the reader, the writer, and running through their script, keeping you on the line long as possible, trying to get you to buy into their fancy little book scheme.
Yeah.
They probably, if you bought the $2.99 book fair thing, you would end up with a book on a tiny corner on a table, along with 500 other books.
Yeah.
Nobody representing it, so
No.
you wouldn't get a single sale out of it.
No.
It would be a waste of your money. So it's to me, it may not be an illegal scam,
Yeah.
but I think it's an unfair thing. I think it's
Right.
like a thing where they're charging you way too much for way too little.
Yeah.
And so it becomes an unfair type of scam.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And
So I said, yeah, I'm not putting up with this. I wanted to get some shock value out of it, so because I didn't like the personal questions this fellow, who had called her twice, mind you.
Yeah.
I said, are you hitting on my wife? I didn't accuse him, I just asked the question.
Yeah.
Because you're asking, this fellow was, I didn't say to this fellow, sorry, I wanted to know if the other fellow,
Yeah.
because of the personal questions he was asking, was he hitting on my wife? And then I got a very nervous, oh no sir, we can assure you he was not hitting on your wife, but we can't tell you, but he couldn't tell me why he was calling.
No.
So very sketchy.
It was very sketchy, yeah.
So by that time, I'm sure he needed a bucket for his sweat.
Yeah, and so what was the most satisfying part of that whole experience for you?
For me, the most satisfying part was that I demanded your phone number get removed from that list,
Yeah.
which he finally did.
Yeah.
Because, again, they were totally sideswiped by my phone call.
Yeah.
They were not expecting my phone call at all. They have no script whatsoever for it.
No.
I'm sure they're busy in their writing quarters now, coming up with one. Oh, we better have a script in place next time an
Yeah.
angry husband calls.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, they took your number off.
Yeah.
Plus, I encouraged you to block their number.
Yes, which
so
I
it's
did.
a double whammy. They're never
Yeah.
going to bug her again.
No.
Because I don't think they really need the mister coming in there
No.
and bugging them about their operation.
Yeah.
I told them their policies are flawed.
Yeah.
Their company is flawed.
Yeah.
And the questions were inappropriate.
They were.
And absolutely scammy. I didn't appreciate it whatsoever.
No.
So I felt satisfied knowing I had the upper hand. I
Yeah.
was showing these phone workers, I was showing them who was in charge.
Yeah.
I was in charge.
Yeah.
And they had no control over, they didn't even have a script proper.
No.
They couldn't even tell me what they were doing. Like, it was
No.
so scammy.
And they didn't tell me either.
No. So the thing is, I found out later what they were really after,
Yeah.
and it didn't impress me at all.
No.
So I was satisfied with the fact that they finally, by my request, took your name off the list.
Yeah.
Because that tells me they didn't follow your request.
No.
But I did. I made them do it.
Yeah.
And second of all, we blocked the number. So I was satisfied with my level of control.
Yeah.
And the fact that I sent them a very strong message
Mhm.
that we don't appreciate this scammy approach,
No.
and I was satisfied with getting your phone number off their list. So
Yeah.
hopefully that summarizes it.
Yeah. And would you do anything differently if you could go back and redo it?
The only thing I would do differently is I would maybe let there be a little bit more uncomfortable silence on their end. I would probably push them a little longer on what the call was for.
Yeah.
I was getting impatient, so I pushed it over. I asked them twice, was not satisfied with any mumbo jumbo they were coming up
No.
with. So then I pushed on to removing your phone number from
Yeah.
from the list. But in the future, if anything like this ever happens again, which I hope it doesn't,
I hope not either.
but I would probably say maybe I should just push it and let them just struggle a little longer.
That's
Just
funny.
just say, I'm sorry, I still don't understand the nature
No.
of your call. I
No.
still don't understand why you were bugging my wife, asking her all these personal questions. If you're not hitting on her, then what was the purpose?
Exactly.
All right? I could have pushed that longer.
Okay.
That's the only thing I might have changed. Otherwise, I was happy with how it turned out.
Okay, very good. So if there's someone on the other end of the screen that is struggling with a scammer, and they or someone else on their behalf wants to do what you did, would you give them any tips? What tips would you give them on how to handle such a confrontation?
I think the reason why it worked so well for us is because I am not on their list. They were
Right.
not expecting me. They were not expecting somebody who knows one of their clients.
Yeah.
Okay? Or clients. I call that very loosely.
Yes.
Because this guy was so scammy, he tried to say, oh, I'm your consultant.
And I'm like, I don't have a consultant.
Exactly.
I don't think he was expecting that.
No, that was wrong.
Yeah.
To me, that is all very underhanded.
Yeah.
So if you're going to call them back like I do,
Mhm.
you can do it yourself, but it might also be helpful to have a loved one do it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it worked for us.
Yeah.
Is because they don't know me,
Mhm.
but they got to know me pretty quickly, and they
Yeah.
didn't want to mess with me, and they didn't want to. So they ended up, because I knew the name of the person they just called, they knew I was legit.
Yeah.
Okay? So I would recommend that you probably have somebody that's not on the call list call them back.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it may not be worth it for you to do it at all. Just block their number.
Yeah.
Block the number. That's what she did.
I wish I had thought of that sooner,
Yeah.
but
So that's my advice, is if you're tired dealing with it, maybe a loved one will call them for you
Yeah.
and say, get her off the list,
Yeah.
get him off the list. If not, just block the number. It'll be done with. They'll
Yeah.
never reach you again.
no. And I've already put a couple videos about signs to look out for scammers and how to protect yourself. But the biggest takeaway that I got from this is don't share your personal information with anyone. Even if you're getting an interview out of it, if they're asking for your number.
Yeah, phone number.
Why?
Yeah. Why do you need your phone? Why do you need my phone number?
I wish, because I don't give my phone number out in person to just anyone. So, like.
Yeah, now we know, right?
Now I know. So
Yeah.
that's a big one. So just be very careful with any personal information of yours.
Mhm.
And stay safe. This is geared towards self-published authors, but really scammers can
target anybody.
target anyone. So yeah, just be safe out there. And thank you for watching. I hope this has been insightful and helpful for you. And I hope you're blessed, like I am, to have someone that's in your corner and will go to bat for you when needed.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And so yeah, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more self-publishing tips. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.